Guys, I'm Blackie Thomas for Shaman's Forge Woodscraft. Okay, I said that I was going to cover my utility set for my cook kit, and I will. This is my vintage Boy Scout mess kit that I've showed in a couple of videos, and I'm going to be using for the upcoming cooking video series. This is the utensils I'll be using with it. Now, I know some of you are going to ask, you see these as the, online a lot of times as the Boy Scout utensil set. And I was gifted this one, and it's very nice, but it's very cute, it's very nice, and I think it's a nice collectible, but that's a little small of a spoon for eating, especially when you're trying to reach into hot grease and do stuff. And the little fork and the knife that comes with it are very nice, and I greatly appreciate the person that gifted this to me, but I consider this more of a collectible than a real piece of field kit for me. Also, I'm going to be carrying with my kit a lot of times stuck in the pack. It's going to be a tin plate, because this was very common back in the day, and it uses a big clean area to work, not necessarily eating off of, because I have a plate on here for eating, but as a work surface, a preparing surface, etc. Also have in here a twisted fork that I made, and I'll show in an upcoming video how to make a twisted fork from wire, cold forged. Alright. My utensil set. I made this little wrapper, recycling a part of a U.S. Army canvas duffel bag. Simply holds the utensils. I have a large spoon that is from a living history set I used to have. Good heavy pewter spoon. Can handle heat, can handle everything I need, and it's strong enough to dig down and break up like hard sugars or things like that, or bear down and actually uses a digging tool if I had to. I have another spoon that came with the vintage Boy Scout kit that is as best I can figure out, late 1800s, early 1900s. This pattern goes all the way back to the Civil War with this little flare right here, and it's one piece. If it was a pinned bowl to the handle, it would actually be a military issue, but this appears to be a civilian part of it. It's just stamped sheet metal, sheet tin that's been, sheet iron that's been tinned. I have a Civil War bone fork, bone handle, good heavy fork. Some of these are really, really thin. This one is almost as thick as say a nickel, much heavier duty. It's got a pewter-like end cap on it. If you drop it, it always hits butt first. And then the matching bone handle knife that goes with it. Now, in one of my cooking videos recently, I showed this knife, and I took a lot of heat because they said me using it onto a metal surface, I would dull it. I know you can't see that, but this knife is completely dull. There is no edge whatsoever on this knife. It's about as, almost as thick as a dime, the entire length of it, all the way. Now, this was a common table knife back in the day, and etc. And I find it perfect to use as a spatula with the small kit, because you can pinch cooking meat in half, etc. You can stir with it, you can whatever. And if you notice how it kind of curves backward, in the day people use this to eat with, so you'd scoop up and eat directly with the knife rather than using a fork or a spoon. So you prepared your meals and then you could eat with this. The only thing, often a set was just simply a knife and a fork. There was no spoon, because if it was something like peas or something, you scooped it up with your knife. If it was something you had to stab, you stabbed it with a fork. If it was liquid, you drank it, picked up the bowl and drank it. You didn't need a spoon. But that's my original Civil War era bone handle knife and fork set, and that's all I'm carrying in this little kit. It's several different tools that each one performs a slightly different job. Why the two big a heavy spoon and a light spoon? I could limit it down. The light spoon I actually like when I'm doing like coffee or something like that. It's about the right size for how much sugar I want to add, for measuring. This is a tablespoon. This is just a little bit bigger than a teaspoon. So for measuring, it works out very well. And all this nests together with the little extra fork in there. It all rolls up in a very convenient little tool roll, just like this, for keeping in the larder. Hope it gives you some ideas, guys. I'm Blackie for Shaman's Forge Woodscraft.